How's it going, everyone? Bass here, and happy Victory Monday to everyone out there. Still can't get over that win last night. That game last night was just insane. But now it's time to go over the PFF grades from last night. I'm going to be going over the winners, or high grades, and the losers, or low grades, on both offense and defense. All right, so let's waste no time and get right into it. This week, I'm going to be starting with defense, and I'm going to start with the winner, so the highest graded player. So let's bring the screen up, and the number one highest graded player this week was none other than our own Jaire Alexander. Jaire had his highest graded game this year with a 78.7 overall grade, which included an 81.9 coverage grade, a 79.0 tackle grade, and a 73.3 run defense grade, and he also made 4 tackles. He did allow 4 receptions on 7 targets, but for only 43 yards, and he also let up a touchdown. But as we know, Jaire had that very, very key interception on that deep ball to Kittle, one of which where it really wasn't his area to cover, but Jaire went all the way across field and pretty much beat Kittle to that route. Very, very good play by Jaire there to get that interception. So the Packers did not line Jaire up at the slot at all, not a single snap this entire game. All snaps were outside cornerback. Now, this is probably just because Kevin King was out, so they didn't have another guy to throw outside, because they're not going to put someone like Chan Sullivan outside if they don't have to. I guess when King comes back, maybe we'll see a little bit more of Jaire Alexander in the slot, especially considering Chan Sullivan has been not having that great of a year, so spoiler. Next up on the winners list is someone you might not expect, and that is Oren Burks. Oren Burks came in after Chris Barnes went down. He played 25 snaps, and he played well. Now, just to note, Chris Barnes actually was the highest graded player before getting hurt, but he only had 10 snaps, and he graded with an 81.4. Oren Burks graded with a 78.0 overall grade, 68.4 run defense grade, a 76.9 tackle grade, a 70.3 pass rush grade, and a 68.8 coverage grade. He racked up 2 pressures, 1 sack, and a tackle. And I'm actually really impressed with how Oren Burks has progressed. This being his 4th year, kind of a make or break year for him. Didn't know what exactly to expect of him this year, where they would play him. Would he just be solely a special teams guy? Would they try playing him outside linebacker like they did last year, like Mike Pettin did? But Joe Barry is a linebacker coach, so if there was anyone to get Oren Burks back on track, it would definitely be him, and he's played well. I mean, with the limited snaps he's had, if you see this is the most snaps he's had all year. In the 2 other games, he only had 7 and 2 against New Orleans and Detroit, respectively. 25 this game, obviously, because Chris Barnes went down. So if Chris Barnes is out for any period of time, or expect Oren Burks to get more and more snaps as that goes on. And as I said, he's been playing well. He played really well in the preseason, and I'm definitely interested to see if he does get more snaps, how he plays. It would be a really big boost to this defense to have someone like him come in and all of a sudden just make that jump and be a good player as well, because Chris Barnes and Devondre Campbell have been playing really well as well. And speaking of Devondre Campbell, he is our 3rd player on the defensive winners for a 2nd week in a row. Devondre Campbell has been a great addition to this defense, a very, very underrated signing in the league this year. He's played very well in this defense at middle linebacker. So Devondre Campbell did grade better last week against Detroit, as you see with that 80.8, but he had a solid game this week as well. He was the 5th highest graded Packer defender with that 70.0 overall grade, 81.3 tackle grade, and a 73.9 coverage grade. He made 4 tackles and 2 stops. And just like last week, and just like the majority of this year, he was targeted 8 times, allowing 5 receptions, but it was only for a measly 24 yards. So he's making the tackle immediately after the ball is caught. And it's really nice to finally have a linebacker that can truly go sideline to sideline. And Devondre Campbell is actually the 6th best graded linebacker with at least 100 snaps in the entirety of the NFL through 3 weeks. All right, so now moving on to the losers for defense. And as I said earlier with that spoiler about Chan Sullivan, here's Chan Sullivan for a 2nd week in a row. Has had pretty much all 3 games been pretty bad, but this one is easily his worst. A terrible 29.2 overall grade with a 21.7 tackle grade and a 28.6 coverage grade. I don't really think it could get much worse than this. Sullivan didn't make a single tackle, but missed 2 of them. He allowed 5 receptions on 6 targets for 87 yards and allowed a quarterback rating of 118.8. He also played the most snaps he's played this year. You see with 44 here. Last week, only 18, and week 1, he only had 35. Now, that's presumably because Kevin King was out, so he had to see the field more. And at this point, I kind of want to see Kevin King in the slot because it seems Eric Stokes is definitely going to keep that outside job. He played pretty well last night. He's been playing pretty well this year. So I kind of, at this point, want to see Kevin King in the slot or even Shamar Jean-Charles because clearly Chandon Sullivan is just not playing well. And maybe Kevin King can have a career resurgence in the slot there. And then obviously we don't know what we have with Jean-Charles, him being a rookie, but it'd be nice to see him get some snaps as well. Chandon Sullivan has yet to have a 60-plus coverage grade game and has a 2 sub-40 tackle grade games. It's really not ideal for your star position. Next up on the defensive losers is Dean Lowry, a frequent flyer on this series. He graded out with a 44.1 overall grade, which included a 48.0 run defense grade, 68.8 tackle grade, and a 60.3 pass rush grade. Also, his lowest graded game on the season. Lowry accounted for 1 pressure and 2 tackles through 44 snaps. And at this point, I said it last week, I'll say it again. I just want to see more TJ Slaton. Slaton only had 2 snaps. 2 snaps against the 49ers, which he did grade well, but that's only 2 snaps. That's 72.6. Luckily, the 49ers run offense is extremely banged up and was pretty much trash for this game. Sermon's an okay back, but a rookie and a young guy at that. So a lot of their, starting running backs are hurt. So luckily their run offense wasn't like it was, a few years ago against us. And Dean Lowry playing pretty bad didn't really show up. All right, so now moving over to the offensive side of the ball with the winners, and I'm going to bundle these first 2 guys up, the 2 highest graded offensive players this week for the Green Bay Packers. You don't need to really say much more. It's obviously Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. Davante Adams with a 91.6, 12 receptions on 18 targets for 132 yards and a touchdown. And then Aaron Rodgers here with an 81.8 overall grade. Aaron Rodgers went 23 for 33, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 113.3. And then, of course, both these guys with that masterful game-winning drive took 2 chunk plays in 37 seconds, both of which Aaron Rodgers to Davante Adams to set up that beautiful, absolutely beautiful 51-yard game-winning field goal by Mason Silverfox Crosby for that win. Next up on this list, I have Billy Turner. Now, he was the 5th highest graded offensive player this week, and although he didn't grade too well, I thought he played great. So he graded out with a 63.6 overall grade, a 60.7 pass block grade, and a 63.0 run block grade. And I don't really understand how he was graded this low, and that kind of goes for all the Packers offensive linemen. They all kind of didn't really grade well this week. I thought they played very well considering how dominant the San Francisco defensive line is. Billy Turner didn't allow a single sack, hit, hurry, or pressure, had a pass block efficiency of 100%. And Arik Armstead basically took a trip to Turner Island, only attributed for 1 pressure and 0 sacks. And I kind of wanted to group this up with Yosh Nijman a little bit. So honorable mention to Yosh Nijman, who also didn't grade well. He actually graded pretty poorly with a 50.4. But I definitely think Yosh Nijman held his own. Especially considering the assignment he was put up against. I mean, a guy that really has no starting snaps under his belt, goes in, has to block the best quarterback in the NFL, the reigning MVP, and he has to block one of the better pass rushers in the NFL in Nick Bosa and didn't give up a single sack. Nijman also didn't give up a hit, hurry, or pressure, and he was mainly against Nick Bosa. He did give up 2 penalties, and that's probably why his grade was so low. And overall, this offensive line only allowed 1 sack. Nick Bosa had 0, goose egg. I thought Bosa and that defensive line were going to run rampant, and Aaron Rodgers was going to get sacked, 5, 6, 7 times. I thought it was going to be one of those games, but that did not happen. The offensive line held true the entire time. The Packers scheme basically made it to where Aaron Rodgers got the ball out quick and didn't even allow the 49ers to sack Aaron Rodgers. So definitely a lot of credit to Matt LaFleur. Definitely a lot of credit to all the big guys down low. And then finally moving to the losers on offense. Now, although I was just giving mad props to the offensive line, I do have to point out the lowest graded offensive player this week, and that is Royce Newman. He was the lowest graded Packer offensive lineman now for 2 weeks in a row. He graded with a 42.3 overall grade, which included a 42.7 pass block grade and a 42.6 run block grade. It's been a pretty underwhelming start for Royce Newman to start these 3 games this year. As you see, the 55.4, 52.8, and a 42.3, his worst game easily being this one against San Francisco, especially how he played in the preseason. Definitely an underwhelming start. Royce Newman did allow 1 pressure and 1 sack, the only sack on Aaron Rodgers last night, and he's currently ranked 76th out of 85 guards in overall grade in the entire NFL. And as I said last week, Royce Newman really needs to step it up. He will be out of a starting job when Bakhtiari comes back if he keeps playing like this. When Bakhtiari comes back, obviously Elton Jenkins is going to have to move somewhere. Billy Turner's 99% going to stay at right tackle, so that means Elton Jenkins is going to move to one of the guard spots. So then that means one of Royce Newman, Lucas Patrick, or John Runyon will take the other guard spot, and right now that's John Runyon. John Runyon stepped in after Lucas Patrick went down with that concussion and has kept his job ever since. John Runyon's been playing really well, definitely better than Royce Newman to start this year, so Royce Newman definitely needs to step it up. And I'm not saying we should give up on Royce Newman at all. He's definitely a very quality offensive lineman. He shows a lot of potential. It's his first year. He's a 4th-round draft choice. These are most likely just growing pains, but he definitely does need to play better. So last on the offensive losers list is Randall Cobb, and I, for one, have not been impressed at all with Randall Cobb this year. It almost feels like he's not even on the team. Although this week he only saw about half the snaps of what Allen Lazard and MVS got, he graded out with a 50.5, just a very, very bad grade. Didn't record a single reception, only targeted once. And at this point, Randall Cobb just isn't a big part of the offense like he used to be. You know, back in the day, he would be one of Aaron Rodgers' go-to guys, especially on 3rd down. So he's really just not that anymore. It seems like Matt LaFleur just likes to have MVS and Allen Lazard out there. It seems they fit his offensive scheme a little bit better. And I get why Aaron Rodgers wanted him. He's, a great team leader. Randall Cobb's a great person, a great friend to Aaron Rodgers, but I really don't understand paying him starting money to basically have him do nothing on offense. Because if that's the case, they should just give Amari Rodgers more snaps and just let him, grow and develop. But that does it for this week's rendition of breaking down the Green Bay Packers PFF grades. Let me know what you think of these grades down in the comments below. And of course, subscribe if you do like this kind of thing, because I will be doing this every single week after every single game, either on the Monday or Tuesday if they do play on Sunday. So definitely keep coming back to my channel to be on the lookout for this video. So on that note, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your Monday evening, and I'll catch you on the next one. As always, go Pack Go.